Coming up on this week's episode of COS Now, the Ohio Senate hears from the public on COS, a new endorsement for the movement, and so much more. Let's dive right in on this week's episode of COS Now.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now!
On Tuesday afternoon, the Ohio Senate Committee on General Governments held its third hearing on Convention of States' application for an Article 5 convention to propose amendments limiting federal spending, power, and terms of office. COS co-founder Michael Ferris was there to provide expert testimony.
This is a state process. The reason the states were given this power is so that the federal government could not unilaterally block amendments that release federal power. The context is absolutely clear. Congress will not be able to control the process. States control the process, and it will be a safe process. And you can fearmonger about everything you want, but I would rather fearmonger about $39 trillion worth of debt than the nonsense of a runaway convention.
While no vote was taken, the Ohio team is flexing its grassroots muscle to pressure the committee to take action on our resolution. COS is pleased to announce the official endorsement of Craig Haggard, an Indiana state representative and board member of the National Rifle Association. His statement reads in part, quote, "The federal government's reckless spending and stretching of the Constitution's boundaries must be stopped. That is why I unequivocally endorse Convention of States." Meanwhile, COS President Mark Meckler appeared on the Steve Gruber Show to share his take on current events.
Is there a role for federal government and state government to play on the same field?
No, I don't think so. And by the way, the framers of the Constitution didn't believe so. We know of the famous debate between Hamilton and Jefferson about big government versus small government, but a place where they both agreed, which was that if a state can do it, then the federal government can't, and vice versa. This is strictly the province of the states. And if states want to enter into mutual support agreements, which they do all the time, if they want to say, hey, we'll help you in an emergency if you help us in an emergency, that's the way that you get broader assistance.
Mark was also a featured speaker at this year's Freedom Fest, featuring a wide range of liberty-loving Americans, many of whom had never heard about Convention of States before. Here's a clip from Mark Meckler's powerful speech.
So Colonel George Mason told us, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you the power to do that. And he proposed Article 5, the second clause. He said, we're going to give the power to the people acting through the states to rise up. When 2/3 of the states agree that we need to gather in convention, then we can gather in convention and we can propose amendments that take power away from the federal government.
Now, it's time for the final five. Number 1. Members of the North Carolina team educated attendees at a homeschool convention, the North Carolina Home Educators Conference. They had some help from the Liberty Llama, as well as a special guest, Benjamin Franklin.
Hey guys, Vanessa Paulson here. I am at the homeschool convention, and right behind me is our amazing stand. Lots of good handouts.
Number 2, COS continues to grab headlines in local news outlets, including in Kentucky and Ohio. Number 3, while the North Carolina House has already passed the COS resolution this year, the Senate hasn't taken action. That's why North Carolina patriots are keeping the pressure on at the Capitol in Raleigh. While they were there, they sat down for an interview with Representative Brian Echevarria.
What do you believe is the best way for the people of our state to reclaim power from the federal government?
Ooh, well, that's the convention. We have to get it. And I'm no expert on the subject of the convention. I understand the whole concept. And because I understand the concept, I understand the need. We have a lot that has to change. We need term limits. We need to demand constitutionally a balanced budget. We need our elected representatives to be employed by the people they represent. So instead of them being an employee in DC, they need to be an employee here.
Number 4, the Michigan team recently recognized volunteers John Phillips and Nancy Chambers with Patriot Pins to honor their hard work and dedication. Visit conventionofstates.com and check out our blog to learn more. And number 5, Here are some of my favorite photos sent in from across the country, including Oregon, North Carolina, South Carolina, Ohio, and Mississippi. What was your favorite news item from this week? Let us know in the comments section below, and just so you know, we won't have a new episode next week due to the holiday weekend, but we hope you enjoy a happy and blessed Independence Day, and we'll see you next time on COS Now.